folks, today talking tires. So there is no more subjective issue than what tire is best. I will not be talking about what tire is best. I'll be giving you some tips that if you're new to the hobby, that may help you kind of make up your own mind. So there's basic things you need to know. Stock tires. I did a little handy graphic here. Most stock tires from manufacturers are kind of hard. The idea being, I think, that they basically just want the tires to last, and doesn't really matter kind of how hard they are. They're not really going for, out and out performance. So, that's what you get. You get tires that last a long time that really don't stick very well. There are rubber tires, there are urethane tires, there are silicone tires. Here in the US and in Canada, it's much more popular for people to use aftermarket silicone tires, more so than in Europe, which is basically, it's unheard of. They don't allow you to race silicone tires in many places, many clubs that I visited overseas, especially, well, not especially, nowhere, essentially. To that point, I wrote down a note here. So years ago when I worked for SCX, I was doing the development testing on the Pro NASCAR. There were 3 chassis that they had done with a new body. Actually, it was the Camry body. And they put them on the chassis. And I took some silicone tires with me over to Spain. I happened to be going there. And I took these tires just so I could do some testing on the tires that I knew that we would be using kind of more of here in the U.S. We visited Crick Crack in Igualada, which is near Barcelona. And if you know anything about Crick Crack, they're kind of legendary. It's probably the biggest slot car store I've ever been in. They're the folks that's the Bosses family. They're great people. They do DS. They were involved in some way with MRRC. They do so much. They make so many different things. And they're one of the biggest slot car stores, certainly in Spain, if not the world. We showed them what we had. My boss at the time, Chuck, took me to Igualada. We knew they had a big track there, and we were going to visit there anyway just to talk to the folks. So we took we took the prototypes, and I asked them if I could do some laps. And I showed them the cars, and it was news to them, and they kept it quiet, of course. They didn't, and I saw I had the silicone tires on the car, right, that I was going to test. And they said, well, these are silicone tires, right? And I said, yeah. They said, well, it's okay if you ruin our track surface because we're going to be taking up the track anyway and selling it. Now, what they meant was silicone tires, if you don't have any experience with them, they tend to pull up dirt on a track or rubber on a track. And they tend to actually kind of clean the track. So, on a track like this, or well, any track, if you have rubber already put down and the track is nice and sticky with rubber tires, and that's usually what you race, the last thing you want, this car has silicone tires on it. Probably Quick Slicks, my personal preference for a silicone tire. That will pull up everything off of the track. It'll pull up dust, it'll pull up dirt, it'll pull up rubber, and essentially clean the track. Now, if you're running rubber tires like are on this NSR car, that's a problem. Or urethane tires like are on this slotted Porsche. I'll get to urethane tires in a second. But so silicone tires and rubber tires at the same time on a track really aren't compatible. So you really kind of have to know, if you're new to the hobby, kind of what direction you want to go in, or at least know that those two effects could happen. You don't have to like plan it out and like stick with, only rubber or only silicone. I'm not saying that at all, but you could. Because especially if you want to really rubber in a track and use just rubber tires, I really like rubber tires. You want to put all that good rubber down, especially in the corners, and everything sticks really nicely. You don't want to put a car with silicone tires on that track, because then it will take that rubber off. Now, obviously, it's going to take a long time to take a lot of rubber off, but it will clean the track. So you want to make sure, you really don't want to mix these things. So there's also urethane tires. Urethane tires are more compatible, let's say, with rubber tires and with stock tires. Tires like Paul Gage tires like these are actually old Mix Ortman tires, kind of legendary, super sticky tires that they just work on everything. Work on Skelectric. They work on, obviously they're going to work on a really rough surface like the Polycar track. They work on Carrera really well. Do they work on Ninco? Well, again, pretty much everything works on Ninco because of the surface on Ninco track. I mean, it's amazingly abrasive, and essentially an ice cube will stick to it. There are certain brands of urethane tires, and I don't really use them very much anymore. For my club racing, we have classes that we do with like classic slot it or classic NSR, which is what we kind of consider these cars. And then we run rubber tires on them. There are some older sports cars like Ninco Classics, and we try to use Ninco rubber, which was really great rubber tires. SCX made really nice rubber tires. Well, some of them weren't really all that soft, but some of them were really, really great. Okay, switch to a sweatshirt here. A little chilly down here today. So another thing I did want to mention is that, especially when you're new to the hobby and you're racing on the floor, you don't have a table built. The track on the floor, it really attracts dust and dirt, and if you have pets, especially pet hair. And then that'll pack up inside the car, and I've seen some back axles, some cars that were sent to me when I worked for Carrera, and some folks, and I would clean their car for them and get it back on the road, and they had like half a cat wrapped around the back axle. It was pretty gruesome, frankly. But so if you're on the floor, best option, if you're going to stay with stock tires, that's fine. Clean them, like I showed in a previous video, like with a lint roller. Roll the car back and forth on a lint roller. You pull all the dirt off, and then back on the track, and you should be okay for a few laps. If you're on the floor, you really don't want to have silicone tires. These are quick slicks, like I mentioned before. You really don't want to have silicone tires if you're going to be racing on the floor, because you're just going to get so much dirt on the track. You're going to be doing a couple laps and cleaning the tires, doing a couple laps, cleaning the tires. The track is basically never going to stay clean enough for silicone tires. You may want to stick with rubber tires then, the stock rubber tires, or go with like a gauge tire, the urethane type of tire, or like an NSR, a nice sticky NSR that might be a good one for you as well. So definitely how you're racing is something to consider, especially when you're pretty new to the hobby. When you want to make a decision about tires, like I said, one of the considerations is definitely, when you want to switch out from, stock rubber like this Carrera little ring was at one point, and make a decision about, kind of what tire works on what car, that can be pretty difficult because it's based on the diameter of the wheel. It's based on the hub, the centering hub on the wheels that keeps the tire kind of in place. And unfortunately, really every manufacturer is different from every other manufacturer. There are some minor exceptions, but even like within Slotted, there are different wheels, different tires, and it can be pretty daunting, especially if you're new to the hobby, to figure out what works with what. And if you have a brand new car and you want to replace the tires, which is really the first best option for a performance upgrade, that I would that I usually would tell people, go ahead and do that, because you're going to feel like you're going to get more value out of the car if you get a little bit more performance out of it, a little bit more stickum when you're going around the track, and it's going to be a lot more fulfilling racing experience. And if the car isn't fishtailing all over the track, and you put down some nice fast laps, you can really carve around the corners. It really feels nice when you're driving. It's a good sense of accomplishment to really get the kinds of laps, the kinds of speed, the kinds of quality of the drive that you get with a little stickier tire, let's say. So one of the people that I do some videos with, and I certainly talk to him all the time, is Steve Sawtell from Slot Car Corner. They have a really cool tire selector that they have built into their website, and Steve is going to talk a little bit about that now.
Hi, this is Steve with Slot Car Corner. As Dave mentioned in his introduction to this video, finding the right tires for 1/32 slot cars can be very challenging, whether you're new to this hobby or if you've been racing for many years. In this video, I'm going to share a couple of tools that are available on our Slot Car Corner website to help you narrow that search. So let's get started. For this video, I'm going to focus on our Quick Slick silicone tires. From the Slot Car Corner homepage, you'll see a menu on the left-hand side. We're going to click on the menu item entitled Tires by Brand. A drop-down menu is going to appear, and first we'll select the entry Quick Slicks by Tire Number. This is the topmost entry. At this point, there's a listing of all the available Quick Slicks tires in part number order. It goes on for pages and pages. I don't want to spend too much time on this particular screen or entry, but I do want to draw your attention to a link at the end of the second paragraph, and it's entitled Quick Slicks Fitment Summary. I'll go ahead and click on the link, and a PDF document is going to be displayed. This is the Quick Slicks Fitment Summary, which lists all the available Quick Slicks tires in part number order. Each of the entries includes some basic information about the tire, such as the OD and the width of the contact patch. And keep in mind, these dimensions are always with the tire mounted on a wheel. And for each of the Quick Slicks tires, the fitment summary also lists the car or the wheel, and there may be plural cars or wheels, for each of these particular Quick Slicks tires. So again, I'm not going to spend much time on this. Something you might want to consider downloading to have at your disposal. I'm going to go back to the Slot Car Corner website, and I'm going to go to the second entry. Again, we're under Tires by Brand, and this entry, Quick Slicks Tire Selector. So I'm going to click on that. And a drop-down menu is going to appear, and this lists all of the brands of cars or wheels where we have entries in the Quick Slicks Tire Selector database. So let's look at a couple of examples to show you how this works. Let's suppose in the first example that we're looking for Quick Slicks tires that fits the Scalextric Dodge Charger. So I'll start by finding the Scalextric brand and the entry here in the menu. I'll select that. And at this point, the tire selector is reset. And we're currently viewing all of the Quick Slicks tires that fit all known Scalextric applications that we have in our database. So at this point, it's not really helping us to narrow the search, down to the Dodge Charger. The tires are here, someplace listed in several pages of tires. But I want you to note these two red rectangular boxes up at the top, toward the top of the display. These are filters, all right? And filters are going to allow us to refine our search, in this case for the Dodge Charger. So to do that, we'll click on the filter that's entitled Car Model / Wheel Size. Right, and an alphabetical list of all the entries we have in here for Scalextric cars appears. I'm going to scroll down through the list until I find Dodge Charger, and here it is. And I should note that we don't make quick slicks tires, for every Scalextric car that's currently being made or has ever been made in the past. So it's possible that if you don't find your entry, it could be that we don't have a quick slicks tire, for that particular entry, or it might be in the list differently. It might be in there as Charger or something like that. So you might want to just scroll down through the list and see if there's an entry either further up, further down. And if you're still not sure, you can always reach out to us. But in this case here, there is an entry for the Dodge Charger. And you'll notice the 2 in parentheses. The 2 indicates that there are going to be 2 tires, 2 quick slicks tires for this particular car. I've clicked on Dodge Charger. It's highlighted. And at this point, I'll click the Apply button. So now the filter is active. And in this case here, these are the 2 tires, the 2 quick slicks tires that fit the Scalextric Dodge Charger. Now I should point out that these are actually the same tire. They're both the SCO2 tire made in the same mold, same size, same diameter, same width. The only thing that's different here is we offer 2 different compounds for this particular tire. We offer our firm compound and our extra firm compound. Right, so at this point, if you decide you want more information, you can click into either one of these tires, these products. And if you decide you want to purchase it, you could just add it to your cart. All right, in the second example, let's suppose we're looking for tires for our CB Design wheels, and specifically for our 15x8 CB Design wheel. So once again, we'll start on the left-hand menu. This time we'll go down, the manufacturer is CB Design, so we'll select CB Design. The filter will be reset, and again, what we're currently viewing are all of the quick slicks tires that are available for all of the CB Design wheels. So again, it narrows it a little bit, but not a whole lot. Again, we're interested specifically in 15x8 wheels. So the filters work the same manner that they did for the Scalextric Dodge Charger example. We'll start with the Car Model / Wheel. We'll click on that, and we'll get a list of entries. Now, in this case here, you'll notice that the entries look quite a bit different than they did for Scalextric, and that's because these filter entries are always context sensitive. And what that means is, in this case here, these entries will just make sense, or they'll just be applicable to CB Design wheels. Just like the entries that we looked at previously for the Scalextrics, the cars, and the models and stuff, those were specific to Scalextrics. So I've scrolled down through the list a little bit. Here's the entry for 15x8 wheels. I'll click on that, and again, notice in parentheses 12 indicates we're going to have 12 quick slicks tires when we activate the filter, which I'll do by clicking Apply. And this lists the 12 tires that are available. So at this point, you may be wondering, well, now we've narrowed it down to 12 tires. How do I know which of those 12 tires that I actually need? So we're running out of time on this video. I won't be able to get into that, but we are going to do a follow-on video, Dave and I, and we're going to do a deeper dive to answer that very question. So we hope this has helped. Again, this is the first of at least a couple of videos on this subject. And if you have any questions, don't be afraid to reach out to us. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Steve, for that. There's going to be more of these videos where we kind of go through the options that you have for tires, because it's really, it's not endless. It's almost endless. And it can be really difficult to figure out what's going to work with what, and especially for just replacement tires. Just something, if the rear tires on a car wear out, or you just want a little more stick, it's really difficult. And the tire guide that they have, the selector that they have, works really well. So we're going to work on a couple more of these videos to help folks out, because I know this is a topic that especially the new racers do need a little help with. So thank you very much for watching. Appreciate it, and see you all again soon.